Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, grasshoppers.
Nice music.
Yes, thank you, Ron.
Hi
We were
all.
just waiting for it. Oh no, did I make it? I don't think I made it. Arg! Too busy trying to get the stream up. Oh well. That game shouldn't count. We should actually weed out all of our non-played games, although I don't think we've had our recaptures. So B takes C3 would be a valid pre-move. D takes E5 would be a valid pre-move. In other words, on any move other than what we are expecting, it would be illegal. So therefore, to play the move Bishop D2 as a pre-move is a rather serious blunder. We can never ever pre-move unless, for whatever reason, so in this particular position I might have followed up with Bishop to F3. Then we have the plan knight on G to E2 and knight to F4. Moving a pawn for the sake of moving a pawn is not active enough, because now we have to deal with the pawn on D4 being attacked. Always paying attention to our opponent's moves. This queen does have a square that it can escape to, so playing H5 is not a real move when knight takes D4. Followed by knight to C2 check could be very embarrassing. In any event, the pre-move got Robert FP in this particular instance. It was not pretty. We have to check the cooldown on the TTS. I believe that I'm a little bit ahead of schedule there. Well, that was checkmate. So there might be an availability here, assuming that George D1 is still in the mix. We didn't get the stream warning out early enough, unfortunately. But we are going to have to be very, very concise. We're going to get some knight f6s in against George. Let's see if he's able to answer this particular line. Let's just keep up the attack appropriately enough. Now we're going to go for the win of material, if possible. It looks as though we might have it. Am I concerned? I am. But let's get our king safe. Remember, being aware of king safety is one of our 3 primary goals. And now that he has played such a move, he missed his chance, actually. He really did miss his chance for a simplification on f6 from the famous Morphy versus Duke and Count game. So already it is, we don't have the proper score sheet here. Let's reload. It's move number 9 and we're already up a pawn. And we are going to be creating some problems for our opponent. Let's see how many more problems we can create for our opponent. Or should we seek more exchanges? Let's seek more exchanges while we're at it. In this manner, we might be able to keep our pawn. We're looking for piece coordination. We may need to go to a6 in order to go to c5, keep the c7 pawn protected, but our opponent is very accommodating as they put a piece on a square where it could be taken. They were threatening checkmate though, so that was definitely something. And then of course, just because our bishop is attacked doesn't mean that we can't counterattack with a greater purpose in mind. Now I did want to exchange, but we are going to try to expose our opponent's king to even more danger. What? Can he do that? I don't think so. Let's place a simple move on the board just to threaten a quick fork. Now we're going to remove the defender. Oh, we can't remove the defender. That's tragic. But we will get more out of this deal. And now our opponent has to choose what he's up to. Does it matter? Now we could go for the immediate simplification, or we can just try to activate our rook and see what we can get. Maybe, just maybe, he's going to go for more exchanges. So how do we cover this square? That is the question. I don't know. Here's one check. And we might have a pawn mate coming up. Unfortunately, he looks like he can get out of it randomly. It's too bad he's gotten out of it. No pawn mates for you. Whoops, we went back to the game. Alright, now we have a return engagement. Now usually the formula for playing well against Ron is to try to keep the position as tight and complicated as possible. Oh no, you're not going to return the favor, are you, Ron? He is going to return the favor. He's going to level out the previous game where I didn't make a move. My heart goes out to you, Ron. YouTube working good, not Twitch and Kick. Fair enough. For those of you, I was definitely having problems on Twitch earlier. And Kick, I was reloading it. It's not my stream upload. The bitrate is the same as usual. Let me check my network connection. It's possible that I'm just not pumping. My daughter reported problems last night. Thank you, Ron. We do need to get the Ron statement over, as he's one of the legends. Wait, we don't have legends either? Uh-oh. I'm writing down a list of commands that need to be transferred to Kick. We don't seem to have legends, although I don't think legends applies on Kick now that I think about it. Chess Bay, raided me some time ago. Ron, I appreciate the returning the favor to level out that game. I apologize profusely. It does not help our race to 500. First person to reach 500. I am driving to Canada for the 2025 North American Youth Chess Championships, so I will be streaming from Kingston, Ontario soon enough. Maybe I'll take a chessboard, tripod, chess set, clock, and maybe we'll get some playing time in with some players, and then we'll know what's going on up there. It turns into an expensive trip if I'm not more frugal. Madurma Doctor, Mr. Mad Doctor. So when the opponent answers with d5, I prefer to be able to get to the e5 square. And where do we arrive at this? We're going to reach a standard attacking position. Whoa, that's unusual. That is a little bit unusual. Right? As much as I don't like attacking him, it works out. Madurma Doctor, Mr. Mad Doctor. Why would I have my brain on Moderna? That's a good question. No threats here, ladies and gentlemen. No actual players were harmed in this process. It's possible that my opponent gave up on that one. He did. That was just too much. Let's make sure we request a computer analysis to see what happened. Let's disable lead chess tools as they seem to be sluggish again this morning. And we'll request our computer analysis of the second game as well. I don't know that we got our computer analysis of the third game against Ron Hay. No, that was too short. So we only really played 2 games today. Ron Hay is crushing it. He's a gentleman and a scholar. Hopefully his son is doing well. Hopefully he's feeling fully recovered from his bout a month or so, maybe 6 weeks ago. Alright, our first real game in months. I am insisting on the Alekhine for a moment. I like to play the old-fashioned way, but we're looking for a very complex, complicated game. Do I want to play it this way? No, we're just going to play it that way. Now, I have made life very, very difficult for myself, unfortunately. I am concerned about this in a roundabout way. We will see if it matters much. Is he really going anywhere? I don't think so.
One of those nights I was feeling kind of lethargic, and I knew I shouldn't have went to that place at all. Whatever was in my mind, my body pushed those thoughts, it just wanted to fly. Am I even here at all? Or was it just another dream? Like I'm this invisible man who's trying to become whole. Scream to the top of my lungs, but no one seems to hear me.
Well, we have gambited a pawn officially. Ron knows that's how I roll. Ron knows that's how I roll.
Scream to the top of my lungs, but no one seems to hear me.
Yes, yes. I don't have much choice. He's taking on the back rank. I don't have much choice, unfortunately. Can I? I'm gonna lose. He has a very efficient continuation. Not that one. Silly. That's not the efficient continuation. You had to play rook to d8 check, king g7, rook takes c3. And of course, if queen to b1 check, just rook back to c1. But, oh no, I don't have anything there. I hallucinated. He got me good, and that was his official win for the day. He should be +1 for the day. Because I didn't move in the first game, he would have definitely been +1 for the day. I mean, he would have probably won that game as well. I played the same move as before. Alright, and we're off. McDermott Doctor. Ah, he has changed his opening. Interesting. Well, that's interesting too. Let's pretend as though we are actually playing the same way. Do I need to distract him? I do. Let's throw in this check just to get the knight on the wrong square. We do have to batten down some of these hatches. We are paying the price. are paying the price. That doesn't do it. I do have to tuck my king away, as it turns out. Maybe. Just maybe. Can I? Bother him? The old-fashioned way? Common misconception, unfortunately. Common misconception. Let's make sure we get our computer analysis on that one. Spokane, Washington in December for the National School Grade Championships. It's good to see Charles in the mix. Oh, I had a question for Jessica. Yes, if she can pick up or take Anakin to see his father at 5-ish today, that will let me get on the road a little bit faster. Fortunately, I still have to go into the city to take care of some billiards business before I can head to Canada. I can do that about 1 o'clock, assuming that my daughter is home. We will know when it happens. We're at least in solid second place, but Charles is going to get one game in. This doesn't look good. I think we have to castle regardless. Of the consequences. Yeah, there's nothing we can do about this, unfortunately. It's not a real check. Oh no, that was a little bit hasty. Why would you do that, allowing bishop to e7? And there are no pre-moves. Why are we pre-moving? No pre-moves, basically. This is not chess.com. Okay, I understand what he's up to now. No, you had to go up for the stalemate. You had to go up for the stalemate. If you were going to get a stalemate, you need to be in more complex territory. I'm not sure why we're watching this anymore. The opponent is demonstrating a ladder mate. I unfortunately don't have the time. You get to watch Mr. Mad Doctor. What's going on here? Is it my internet that's keeping the broadcast from being so slow? What is going on? Control 0. Control R. There we go. Something very strange happened. This game also. What happened to George? Rule number 1, for young players, that is ratings lower than X. Young players meaning that they are very young in strength and experience. Basically, to give up the center like this and to build the habit of moving the same piece twice is not really recommended. At all. Could have already damaged the pawn structure. You can't castle queenside until we take care of f4. Probably we should be going for more. Trying to activate this bishop as well. Oh no! We should be concentrating on holding on to our pieces, not this. And suddenly his own knight is trapped. Like, why was this check so important to give? That knight on f5 was on a beautiful square. Would have been much better just to push this pawn and trade the knight for the dangerous bishop. And then to continue pushing on our merry way, or to pin the other knight to the d7 on d7 to the king. Right? This would be a much more effective use of our time. Because we're up a pawn and a piece.
You hella thirsty.
Alright, I skipped the base in your face. So in general, you want to avoid moving the same piece twice. Avoid openings that force you to move the same piece twice, George, if you're listening. Alright, if you're listening, avoid openings that force you to move the same piece twice. There are 3 ways to deal with the center. One is to hold the center, and this is the #1 way. Like hanging on to your stuff when you're very young, you know, not having to go to Lost and Found to pick up your things. Basically, you have to hang on to your belongings. You're going to hang on to the center. This is the first opening setup you are going to familiarize yourself with. It is so important to learn how to hold the center. Next up, openings that fight for the center, such as the Caro-Kann preparing d5. That way you keep a foothold in the center if your pawn is captured. The French defense, attacking the e4 pawn, and that way you get to recapture in the center. Those openings that fight for the center are secondary. Garry Kasparov moved from holding the center to fighting for the center with the Caro-Kann, and he used that for his second stage of development all the way to mastery. He played it all the way up, the Caro-Kann, and he even wrote a book about it with his coach, Alexander Nikitin. Third, openings that fight for the center yet don't create immediate conflict all the time, like the Sicilian defense, the Pirtz defense, Things like those where you are attacking the center later, letting white build up a big center, and then attacking the center later are relatively key. Those are the last line of development for developing players. The Sicilian and the modern and the Pirts or the Alekhine even, maybe even the Scandinavian should be the most advanced openings that you should play. Primarily the Sicilian is the #1 most reliable weapon at the highest level because it keeps the imbalances in check to a great extent, and white, unless they play the open Sicilian, does not get such a good position. Needless to say, we're going to raid somebody totally different here, as usual. For what it's worth, I'm just going to pick the first person off the top of the list. Thanks everyone for being here. I'm sorry that the broadcast was not so great. Cheers and ciao. Thank you for being here. Be sure to follow on the socials. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube. And also check out the Kick stream. We're now up to 11. The magic number is 11. And it's not the first 50, but the first 25 on Kick will earn the OG badge. Have a great day, everyone. Cheers and ciao.